2023,
Recent.
this canyon flooded. There was a storm coming through the valley. It actually was coming from the north. And I was in here with a documentary team and a new guide, a brand new guide. He had been with us for like maybe 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. So, super new green, right? So we were in here, kind of in this area and a little bit more out there, but we were filming a dinosaur documentary. And as our day was going, the morning was nice and blue, sunny, kind of like this over here. But to the north, there was a storm, and we were tracking it, we were watching it, paying attention to where it was going. And the way that the radar was making it looked like it was going to head towards Zion and go kind of towards the Narrows and rain out the Narrows, which isn't necessarily a bad deal for us because it's on the other side of the 89. It wouldn't even affect us. Well, that changed right around 12:31 o'clock. The wind changed, and that storm started to push, instead of pushing west, it started to push east, and it came and pushed right up on top of those big white cliffs above us. About 20 minutes into that, we had the temperatures go from about 80 degrees down to probably 55, 50 degrees. And there was a major hailstorm. We seen pea to dime to nickel size hail by the end of it coming down and hitting us. And at that point, I kind of started talking to the director and the editor and told them we're in a really bad place to be fucking around with a potential storm. And they were like, okay, well, what do you think we should do? And I said, well, I think we should get out. I think we should start packing up and leaving. And so I started grabbing machines, and the group started filming things. This is the video of that day. Let me pull it up for you guys. I'll show you. We were here at like noon. And you can see to the north, back the other way, it was kind of cloudy and gray. But otherwise, blue skies, semi-sunny. It was nice, 85 degrees. And then it dropped to about 55 degrees with the hail.
I see the storm moving.
The storm moved in right on top of us. You'll see here in the next clip a big pile of
The
hail.
It's just
And at that point, the directors and editors were trying to convince me to stay. And I told them, no, we got to leave. We got to figure out where we're going. And so I started grabbing machines and packing them up. I had the other green guy come in and help me get the rest of our stuff together. And there was 12 total people plus 2 guides, so 14. That's not enough seats in the machine. So I had to pack 6 people in the machines, all of the equipment that we had in the machine, and then put somebody on top of the equipment to get us out of the canyon. Because as we were leaving the canyon,
you can see
the headwater was chasing us. That's the very beginning of the flood. And every single gully that we washed through was flowing like somebody had opened up a water main. This was all within about 15 minutes of that storm moving in and the hail hitting. As we were leaving, not only did this canyon flood, but I knew that the canyon that we were just at was fucking for sure flooding. So
because it would have gotten hit first.
it was going to get hit. Whether it was, that one always fills with water. So if this one was,
That one.
fucking for sure is, right? As we were going, that was all I could think of, and my green guy kept stopping so that people could take videos. And I'm thinking, oh my God, we're gonna fucking die in this canyon. Get out, go, go, go. A big lightning strike happened and struck a tree by us as we went by. And then this is gonna say a few minutes later in camp. It was probably about 5 minutes later, and a guy stayed back against my judgment to take this video. I didn't tell him to do this. He stayed back, and this is what he captured. That's where we were parked. That's all. That's the only thing we lost was our cooler with our lunch in it. This is coming right out where we were parked. Big waterfall just outside there. And then this is that corridor that we just walked through.
Oh, damn.
There's probably 7 or 8 feet of water moving through there right there.
How do you get out?
He wasn't.
He was up above everything. He climbed up top where he was safe. We were not in a safe place.
No,
But you can see the storm.
Yeah.
And it went like this all the way across the big white cliffs up above us.
Dang.
That storm ended up dropping about 1.5 inches of rain. And the next day we came in to look at the canyon to check it.
Yeah.
And there's marks, we'll see them here about 25 feet high on the wall from that storm. And this rock was not here.
That's what
Oh.
I was wondering. I was like, did it come from?
This rock was put here by that flash flood. When that water came through
This
here,
big
it pushed
ol'-
this guy in.
Dang.
That's why it's one of those. It's like, if you're not the professional, take the professional's advice.
You know,
I'm not-
but the
I'm-
amount
if
of
somebody's
people
ever
that
be like-
don't listen to the professionals
This is the
is,
thing, right? It's like kind of obvious. This floods. It's a narrow spot,
yeah.
and if the person that's paid to guide us through this shit is like,
Take
"You
care
gotta
of you
get
and
the
make
fuck
sure
outta
you
here."
got
Yeah.
leave, it's time to go, right? I like to point out right here, if you sit up against this wall and look to this wall, you can see some of these big, it almost looks like somebody's filled a big bucket of paint,
Yeah.
right? All these big drip marks. That's called desert varnish, and that happens during a rainstorm. If there's not enough rain to flood, it drips down the wall, and you'll see it everywhere in this canyon. And typically, it does this, it comes all the way down, right?
kinda
This is
stains it.
post that flood. This line happened after that flood. You see where everything else stops?
Yeah.
And all these kind of gray speckles are?
Yeah.
That's how high the flood water was when it was working its way through here, about 10 to 12 feet, right here. As we come around this corner, I'll point out and show you a spot about 20-ish, 25 feet high, where the flood water was marking up the wall. Right here, see the speckles?
This is one of those cases of like, you don't understand volume until you're in it.
Oh yeah. Right up here is our high mark. See the gray
Yeah.
speckles? That's about 25 feet. Right here, it's about 20 feet. But that's what happens when about 1.5 inches of rain comes down all in the right spot in this area. Pretty dangerous game to play.
It's like those perfect storm scenarios.
It was a bad deal, man. And to be honest, we were real lucky to get out. And we were real lucky to get out with everybody and everything.
Yeah. Except your
that-
lunch. Except your lunch, though.
Except
Except for the lunch.
Except for the cooler.
I would have been like, bro, you could have grabbed that shit.
I'm willing to let that one go. I'm willing to let that one
I feel like you could have grabbed the lunch. You saw it?
That's one thing, that's a sacrifice. That's something I'm willing to give to the water gods. But this canyon, as you guys can tell, much taller than the last one. It's well over 250 feet pretty much the whole way through this guy. But this one stays dark because of the height, because of how deep we are. Even during the summertime, this spot right here, it's the darkest, and it's the only spot to get the brightest light during the summertime. This is the only bright point.